Hey everyone, I'm Jess from Crowdfunder, and for more than obvious reasons, we can't hold our brilliant Back Her Business events around the UK at the moment. So welcome to Back Her Business Live. These networking events were created to share inspiration and support from women for women looking to launch their own companies. So instead, we thought we'd put me on a sofa and bring the action to your screens so nobody misses out. We're here for about 30 to 45 minutes, sharing all the goss on how you can get some help on launching your company. And I'm not sure if it's ever been a better time to get your idea or your head straight and over the line. We're going to be hanging out with some epic women who've been there and got the t-shirt, and looking at some crowdfunding campaigns that have smashed their funding targets, getting their brand new businesses off the ground with a joyous match-funded pledge from Royal Bank. And after this webinar, we're going to link you up to a brilliant free new Back Her Business learning program, which is going to show you just how to crowdfund, giving you the tools you need to make the money to make your idea happen. Remember, if you've got a question to ask, you can type them into the box on your screen, and a magical crowdfunding wizard is going to be on hand to help us answer them. And also, I'll get some through to my phone as well, so you might see me looking at that. Today, we're going to start by introducing you to the epic Paula from Royal Bank. I want to find out just why this campaign to support women in business was set up and how it all works. So I'd love to welcome you, Paula. How are you today? And she will appear. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to have you here. Are you well?
I'm well, thank you. It's very strange doing this online, but it's great to be here and to be able to share some of our Back Her Business thoughts.
It's wonderful to have you here. Can you just run us through a little bit about Back Her Business and what it is and why we're doing this?
Sure. So Back Her Business programme, we developed this with Crowdfunder to offer women across the UK access to support and funding, just to let them be able to start their own business and start their entrepreneurial journey. But Back Her Business goes much deeper than just that. So last year, 2019, in conjunction with HM Treasury, our Chief Executive, Alison Rose, launched a review into female entrepreneurship and the barriers for starting business. The review brought about a number of pieces of research from not only the UK, various sectors and industries, but also internationally. And the findings gave us a bit of insight into why people don't necessarily want to start their own business, and in particular women. So some quite startling stats were found. One of, I think, is on our presentation screen now. Only 6% of women run their own business in the UK, which is a tiny proportion compared to the number of businesses that we do have. We also found that women tend to start their business with 50% less funding than a male would, which again is another startling fact. But I think one of the most important stats for me was that actually only 1 pence in every pound of investment funding is attributable to women. So I think you can see the size of the issue that we found through this research. It also told us that there was a number of consistent barriers that many businesses face. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on those now, but I think that many people on this call would be able to associate with those. Low access and low awareness of capital. Where do we get that funding? Greater risk awareness, just having that understanding of what might be the blockers to starting our business. A perceived missing skills and experience. So for you and I, that's more around this imposter syndrome, just not holding that confidence. A disproportionate primary care responsibilities. So whether that be children, caring for our family and friends, there was a disproportionate element with females versus males. And then finally, a lack of relatable sponsorship or mentorship. So having that role model to really support you to get started. So the Rose Review was just one point in time to understand that we need to take collective action. And a number of initiatives were formed, the main one being what we're talking about today, Back Her Business. And the bank really wants
that's mad. Sorry, I've interrupted you. Carry on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the bank really wanted to play its part, Jess, because we recognised that there was this real need to be more than just a provider of funding. And we felt that the Back Her Business programme was a great response to that. So it's not just about providing funding, but it's also other tools and supports, as you alluded to in your intro.
For me, I just can't get over that stat. You know, I've heard it before that only 6% of businesses in the UK are run by women. And the other stats you talk about, they're just mind-blowing. You know, the 1 penny in the funding, and it's just mad. So this program is really incredible, just in the very fact that you're addressing very specific needs for women looking to launch their own companies. And so the program works by a person would come along and they would crowdfund, but then they get access to the extra money from you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about that match funding?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the Rose Review initiatives, Back Her Business being one of those. So we have stipulated that we will provide match funding, up to £1 million of match funding for businesses that are looking to start through crowdfunding. So Royal Bank typically will support up to 5k of your crowdfunding. So we will match you pound for pound up to £5,000. All you have to do is to be eligible is to associate yourself, identify yourself as being female, be based in the UK and have turnover less than £1,000. So for the proportion of businesses starting, that's a hell of a lot of support that you can achieve through this. But equally, it's about us being more than just a provider of finance. So we can give you other support, which I think we're going to talk about today, through things like coaching, workshops, webinars, just giving you that starting point to really take your idea and grow, scale, then succeed, hopefully.
I mean, that's incredible. Like, just for you, it must be really incredible as a woman in the business world, being able to sort of help all these pop-ups across the UK. Have you I know this whole system is new to a degree, but have you seen anything else like this out there?
So this is a pretty unique fund. It's the only female crowdfunding fund that we're aware of in the UK, which is massive. But also we know that the demand is there. So since we started just over a year ago, we've seen about 1,400 projects successfully raise funds. And for us as a bank, that means that we've supported about in the region of about £2 million into the economy. So that's a massive piece of support that we're giving just to all those businesses that are looking to start up from that one small idea. So for me, it's pretty inspirational to know that we are making an impact, but also we're helping to shape the futures of these female entrepreneurs and their hopefully respective families and friends.
I mean, it's just brilliant. I'm kind of proud for everyone involved. And I think, you know, it's clear to see that it's really, really needed, this campaign and the programme and funding for women who are hopefully, you know, everyone who's watching now looking to or considering launching their own company. I was just going to say, the kind of the stats speak for themselves. It's been incredible having you on board, Paula. Thank you so much for explaining everything to us so well, the Rose Report and everything. We're now going to move on over and introduce Anna from Crowdfunder, and she's going to give us the lowdown on how you can actually crowdfund, how you get this process started. So hi, Anna, how are you?
Hi, Jess. I'm really well, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, really good, really good. This is always a strange thing to do, isn't it? Be talking with lots of people listening. I was wondering, could you tell us, perhaps in its most basic form, what is crowdfunding for everyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so the word crowdfunding can have lots of meanings, but what we're talking about when we with Back Her Business and today is rewards-based crowdfunding. So rewards-based crowdfunding is essentially giving something in return for a pledge or a donation. It's nothing to do with equity or ownership of a company, and it's not about getting a loan, so there's nothing to pay back. It's simply an exchange between a crowdfunding project and their supporter. So how it works is a project will offer up a reward, which could be a product, a service, or an online workshop, for example, in return for money. So if we I'll tell you about one example. One recent example is Emmy, who crowdfunded recently, this is her lovely hedgehog, Alfred, to set up an online shop to sell her crocheted animals. So, as you can probably guess, one of her rewards was a crocheted hippo or rhino, for example. So people could pledge on her project, and in return, they would get one of the crocheted animals. So that sort of sums up rewards-based crowdfunding.
That's incredible. I definitely didn't expect to see a hedgehog pop up on the screen today, and it's brilliant. It just shows just how simple it is. You know, you have a brilliant idea. You don't have to be an established business or even thinking really so much about that stages yet, because the Back Her Business Learn program that you get access to after this takes you through all of that anyway. And it's a great example. I mean, it just shows what type of reward. It could really be anything, right?
Exactly. The more creative, the better.
The what? Sorry?
The more creative, the better.
I think, yes. So actually, on that point, do you have any top tips about, you know, maybe from the first stages of launching a crowdfunding campaign? What's the best advice? You must get asked this all the time.
Yeah, so in terms of crowdfunding, if it suits your business, I would say go and have a look. There's no harm in having a look. You know, there's no upfront cost to joining Back Her Business. But more importantly, if you do feel it's something that you want to do and you feel like it's the right thing for your business, I would encourage you to get a friend or two to help with your crowdfunding campaign and also with the setting up of your business. It can really help to share the journey with someone, lighten the load, and also it might be the person who, you know, can help you when you've got a bit of a wobbly moment or celebrate the wins with you, for example, and help keep you motivated when you're struggling a bit. So that would be my sort of top tip.
And crowdfunding can also be quite, you know, without putting a doom and gloom stance on it, it can be really hard work, can't it? You go through phases of a campaign where you're getting lots of pledges because you're fresh and new, and then you've got to really think about what happens later. Can you tell us a little bit about the lifespan of a crowdfunding campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. So we recommend the sort of optimal time to crowdfund is about 4 or 5 weeks. There's usually a sort of peak at the beginning of the campaign and a peak at the end where there's sort of you gather lots of interest. But it's that middle section, that sort of couple of a week or 2 weeks that's sometimes a bit slower. Every campaign has that drop, so don't be alarmed when it happens. But that's why we sort of suggest a 4-week campaign works well, because it means that, you know, you don't extend that long period of quietness, and you can keep that momentum going throughout the campaign. And like similar to that, in terms of planning it, I would say 4 to 5 weeks also planning it is sort of a sort of good amount of time to get it up and running.
That's brilliant. And I think in a minute you're going to show us a little bit about this Back Her Business Learn program, which is exciting. But before that, we've got a few questions, if you don't mind. Yeah. So Andrea, hello Andrea. I hope you're still here and watching. I've just looked for questions, so I should have looked a bit sooner. Andrea, you'd like to know, is crowdfunding only for new businesses, or is Back Her Business only for new businesses?
So crowdfunding it can be any kind of business. For Back Her Business, in order to get the extra funding, it has to be a new business. So the sort of criteria is, as Paula said earlier, that you've had a turnover less than £1,000. So some people haven't even, you know, got a product yet, or they might be a couple of months in. So yeah, it's new businesses.
So in the early stages, that's good. And Gina, hi Gina. Gina is asking, oh, this is a really good question. What type of businesses would crowdfund it? Sorry, I got to get this right. I'm going to blame Tammy for phrasing it right. What type of businesses are not good for crowdfunding is what I think this question says.
Okay. So I would say when you sort of, for instance, if you have a business and you are deciding whether it's right for crowdfunding, what's important is that you establish your audience and who's going to be interested in it. A good way to maybe sample it is to ask a few people in your network whether it's something that that would be, you know, of interest to them, and they'd want to support it. But there's sort of two big reasons why people would pledge on a crowdfunding campaign. And the first is that they believe in your idea, and the second is that they want a reward. So with your crowdfunding project or your business, you need to sort of hopefully fall into one of those categories. And if in an ideal world, you'd have both as well. What a perfect campaign is something that everyone really believes in, and they also want a reward. And if you don't have that, that's something to work on before you crowdfund, or you might decide it's not, your business isn't right for crowdfunding. You can always, what I suggest is having a look on the website and seeing what other businesses are out there and see if there are other things similar to yours.
That's great. That's a brilliant answer. And we've got Leah, I think, online, who's asking, just a clarification on your earlier point. So when you're looking for a few friends to help you with your crowdfunding campaign, or your like crowdfunding team, do you mean to help with the campaign or with your business idea? I mean, ideally both, right?
Yeah, ideally both. I think that I guess it depends on which comes first. With crowdfunding, it really helps to have, say you have a friend who's really good with a camera, and maybe they can take pictures of your product, or they can help you with a video, or for instance, like a nephew that's really good at social media, and they can sort of help you with that part of the campaign. With that, they sort of become your ambassadors of your brand and your business. So having them, they might just do one little thing for you with your crowdfunding campaign, but I'm sure they'll definitely help you later down the line if you need help with your business. Also expanding your network. It definitely helps having a few friends to get that, your network and the people who, your supporter numbers up. So yeah, that's my answer.
That kind of makes sense. I mean, if you sit there and go, you're my social media person, you're my cameraman, you're going to help me write the copy for my page, that's great. If you've got the help out there and you can ask and attract people, I guess, the more the merrier, right?
Yeah, exactly. And not everyone's not a sort of expert in everything. So having a few friends to help you will definitely help in terms of your success.
Sorry, I missed that last bit. Did I interrupt you?
No.
Leah's also asking, is it a good idea to ask for all the money you need to start your business, or do you do it in stages?
So for crowdfunding, we as coaches always recommend choosing the minimum that you need to get your business off the ground. So say you need 10 grand to actually do absolutely everything that you want to do for your business, but you only need 5 grand to sort of get it up and running. Once your crowdfunding project is successful, you can continue to fundraise, but it's better to choose a more realistic, lower target, make sure your project's a success, and then continue to that 10 grand rather than, going for the stars straight away and really struggling. So I would say, make sure that it's really achievable, the target that you set. That's really important.
And is that where you can overfund, Anna? Is that where you set your say you need the 10 grand, you target the 5 grand, you hit that, and then because you have got a little bit of time left in your campaign, you can then carry on your campaign and more people will come in and pledge. Have I got that right?
Exactly. And we call it a stretch target. So once you hit your target and you're still live, you can add as many stretch targets as you want. But with the stretch targets, it's sort of quite good to increase them slowly. So instead of going from 5 grand to 10 grand, sort of choosing smaller increments in your stretch target works quite well to keep people motivated to helping you get to that next target.
I guess those hero moments must be like amazing. You're like, we've hit 5 grand, we've hit 6 grand, we've hit 7 grand. I mean, that's just like got to be an exciting time in any campaign. Okay, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. You would like to know, how important is it to have a large personal network of people who have money to invest or pledge, we should say?
So with any kind of crowdfunding campaign, having a sort of a network is important. And if that's something that you don't have, you know, if it's not a strong network yet, that's something that you can do when you're preparing and you're planning. Say, you know, in the next 4 to 6 weeks, you can start building it up. It's good to sort of work out how many people that you need to pledge on your campaign, and sort of going backwards through there to see how you know, how established your network is and whether you need to expand it. We have some good stats online, but for instance, sort of the average pledge on a crowdfunding project is £50. So if you're, you know, you can work out how many supporters you'd need depending on your target with that statistic, and you can see how big a network that you need to reach out to. It's also 1 in 20 people who visit your crowdfunding campaign. That's the conversion in terms of visiting the page and pledging on it. So you do need to have a sort of, you need to really work on your network. And if that's something that is, you know, if your network's a bit limited, that's why you want to get friends involved, build up, you know, get that network bigger. It's not essential that you have sort of 1,000 followers on Facebook, but it's good to have a solid network.
I guess as well, like, you know, in a minute we're going to go to the Back Her Business Learn bit where you're going to show us what's involved in that. I've got another question for you, but I guess the whole point is that you can launch your crowdfund when you want and when you're ready. And I think that's important when in terms of if building your network is a part of that, you do it when you're ready. I guess that's kind of the right way to go.
With crowdfunding, the more preparation you can do beforehand, the better. So when your actual project goes live online, you don't want it to be sort of leaving it up to fate. You want to have, you know, prepared and planned. So you're just following a plan for that campaign, and then obviously hopefully leading you to success through it.
Brilliant. And we have a last question here before we go to the Learn program to have a look. It's Lucy. Hi. Lucy might be thinking about a street food business because she's asked, would a street food business work, as the reward would most likely be food? So it's not a reward you can send out so easily, or would you suggest other rewards or merchandise and things like that?
So for a sort of foodie business like that, what you want to do is obviously with the crowdfunding campaign, start to get some sort of clients lined up. And so I think for her, she should really focus on locally who she's going to, you know, reach out to and who her supporters can be. She can also sort of be creative in terms of some people who do crowdfunding campaigns. If it's a sort of more localized project, they might do like an out-of-towner rewards, and maybe they send a hamper, or they might send something else. But you know, you don't have to have just physical, you know, products or food to eat. You can offer, you know, different things. It could be, you know, an online launch party, or a what else? Yeah, recipe card, for example. You know, there's lots of different things. There's so many foodie projects online on the RBS Back Her Business website. So if she goes and looks there, she can actually look at the food and drink category of projects and see, you know, what other people have done.
That's amazing. Is it? I'm going to ask a question of my own. Can you? Sorry, Lucy, you might like this one. Can you sell your food, like food vouchers? So you get some money in advance to launch, and then people claim their food voucher afterwards? Yeah,
definitely. That's what lots of people have done. So yeah, Lucy, you can definitely use that. And you know, if it's going to be a foodie truck that moves around a bit, maybe you can, you know, decide a fixed date, so that you basically want to obviously let your supporters know. Or you could do a launch party where they can come and claim the food there, and you can set it up somewhere locally, for example.
Foodie businesses are brilliant. I love it. So that's our last question for you, Anna. And I'm just wondering, did you want to take us through the Back Her Business Learn?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Show us what it's about.
So what we have learned is, over the last year that, women setting up businesses have got lots of other things and responsibilities going on. So what we've decided to do is to take it a really online approach into learning. We've created what we call Back Her Business Learn. As I said, it's all online, so women can do it whenever suits them. Here's a little bit about what it's like and what's involved. There's lots of different modules that you can complete. There's videos, there's quizzes, there's activities. So it will really provide women with the initial foundations of the mechanics behind crowdfunding, and also it also will sort of give you the information about the support available in Back Her Business as well. And it's brand new, so we're really excited about it. It's fantastic.
This is exciting. So with Royal Bank, you've got some extra funding and this incredible campaign, and then you've also got the system that literally teaches you almost how to build a business at the same time as raising funding for it, and getting everyone off on the right foot. Is what I'm trying to say. My words.
Yeah,
That's cool. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing all of your brilliant crowdfunding wisdom. Thank you. And we'll see you again.
Bye,
take care. And now, guys, we have, this is, as much as Anna and Paula were amazing, this is my favourite part because it's our mystery guest. And I have got no idea who's about to pop up on the screen. So welcome. There we go. Hello. Oh, you might need to turn your audio on. I think you've been sitting. No, that's fine. It's great. Okay. And you are Laura from Goody Foodie Gardens. This looks amazing.
Yep, Goody Foodie Gardens launched it with a crowdfunder, and essentially we deliver and install vegetable patches into people's gardens.
So anyone's garden?
Anyone's garden, as long as they've got a 2 metre by 1 metre space. We deliver everything they need to do it, and they get all the support and all the instruction, absolutely everything they need to start a veg patch.
You've blown my mind. What a brilliant business. I'm sorry, I'm an avid gardener in my own time. So this is just, you really have to just launch a veg patch from scratch. You don't know how to build beds or what to put where and how long to grow it for and when to plant it. And my gosh.
Yeah, we give people everything they need. So it's all been thought through, the time of year, the plants they get, how to protect the beds, line it so you can put it on any surface. It's all been thought through for them.
This just is incredible, Laura. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And gosh, I could talk to you all day about vegetables, but I'm actually going to ask you about crowdfunding. So how did you find your way to Crowdfunder?
I had approached the enterprise agencies. So specifically for me, it was Scottish Enterprise to try and get some help, get some funding together. And it was taking a really long time. And then eventually they pulled the plug on the fund that I was trying to go for. And but during that process, they had suggested to get in touch with Crowdfunder. And I had contacted somebody through LinkedIn. They'd given me a name and I contacted them, and it just went from there.
That's incredible. And did you, when you approached Crowdfunder, did you know about the Back Her Business scheme at the same time, or did you find that out along the way?
I found it out along the way.
That must have been a nice bonus.
yeah. No, it was actually brilliantly timed, and probably it was a better process for me to go through.
Oh, really? Can you tell us why it was a better process? That's interesting.
Because what Crowdfunder all does, as well as gives you the money that you need to start, is it's like a test bed, so you get to get feedback, and it needs a sort of visual setup. It needs everything set up, so it sort of helps you, like you mentioned earlier. It almost gives you that launch plan for the business, and I found that really, really helpful process.
So I mean that is I think one of the main things about crowdfunding that a lot of people know. It's just about raising funds. You can launch your marketing plan off the back of it. You can talk about your aims and aspirations and build a business plan in your mind and then get it out and all that. What we know that crowdfunding is a journey. What would you say were your favourite parts of crowdfunding?
The favourite parts is just hitting the milestones on the money. It's just so exciting to get it. You know, when you hit the milestone to get the funding, to the match funding, you know, you could cry. It's absolutely brilliant. And then you're so grateful to the people who donate onto your page and buy the rewards. You know, ever since then, and been successful in mine, if anybody asks me now to support their campaign, I always do it right away, because you're just so grateful for the support that you got when you really needed it.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm a fan of Crowdfunder, and I've racked up a lot. Like payday comes around, and then I'm there like pledging on projects. It really, and it's a feel good vibe as well. You know, people pledge because they care about the people that they're pledging for. Well, so talk us through the planning for your crowdfund. How long did you plan for before you went live? Was it a big process for you, or did you just whip it up and go live?
Well, no, we certainly did a lot of planning, but we had already done a pilot study on the business the year before. And so we already had statistics. Really importantly, we had a lot of visual communication. So we had loads of photographs, some video, the branding, that was already done. And then when it came to Crowdfunder, the resources that you get are absolutely brilliant. They're really, really, really helpful. The planning side of it is excellent. So that took probably about 8 weeks in the planning. We really went through it well. And if I could say anything about it, the main thing is to make sure you've got some visuals, because it's a visual storytelling platform, and you really, it was very, very important to get that.
So I love the fact that you're clearly a fan of crowdfunding and it's worked for you. Do you have, were there any parts that were hard, that you really sort of had a bang your head against the wall moment, or the veg pad or the raised bed?
Yeah, it was mentioned earlier, there's a dip in the middle, and you think, I'm not going to make this, and I did get really despondent at one point. I thought, right, that's it, you know, never going to do it, forget it, because it's on you can select to do an all or nothing campaign, and that's the way that I done mine. So you know, there is that, and then you've really got to pull yourself together and focus and do everything you can to get out and raise the funds. So it's, yeah, there is definitely a sort of despair point in the middle when you don't think you're going to get it. Did
you plan for that? Did you know it was going to happen?
Yeah, it's in all the literature, and the mentor had spoke about it, and it was actually speaking to the mentor at that stage that got me through that stage.
That's cool. That's good. We have a question for you, which is, I think, is really brilliant, actually. Sarah's asking, what job or career did you do before you launched this? And is this going to be full-time, or is it full-time?
Well, I've actually got a small marketing company. So I do understand the importance of the sort of visual communication and all that side of things, and understanding a communications plan. So I did have the benefit of that. So this will hopefully eventually be the full-time business eventually, but they feed into one. They sort of, I know it doesn't sound like they do, but you know, I've got a graphic designer, web developer, so all of that helped set up that Goody Foodie.
Yeah, so this is where this, you know, earlier on we were talking about having a team around you. You've got a ready-made team, which is brilliant. You're lucky, right? That's cool. I mean, it's quite interesting because I know from experience that a lot of crowdfunding campaigns start off as a side hustle, and then you move into it becoming your full-time job. So clearly that's the thing for you, isn't it? You're gonna, like, it's going to expand. I mean, I think it's a brilliant business idea. So it's like, I'm just going to buy my veg patch. Love it. So how did it feel? So you got match funding as well from Royal Bank?
Yes, so I raised them. So I went for a 10 grand target, and that means that I need to raise 5 myself, and I was match funded with 5, and in the end we raised about 10.5.
Wow.
That
Great.
includes the 5 that we got from RBS.
That's amazing. And do you, Leia's asking, when you talk about having visuals, did you have your product yet, or did you just have mock-ups or generic shots?
We had done the pilot study the year before, so we had really good photos, and we had loads of kids involved and, you know, happy faces, and we had the branding already done. So it was so helpful to have that. And if you can, just get any kind of mock-up, try and get something like that. And you can use really cheap tools to create video. So if you've got Microsoft Paint, there's a video function on that, and it'll pull together the photographs and create a really easy short video. We storyboarded an intro for the crowdfunding page, and then filmed the bits we needed, and then padded it out with photos that we had taken the year before, and that worked really well. If you're going to add photos, you can use a tool called Canva, which is a free tool, and it's great for doing editing and, you know, the color matching and everything on it. So do your best to get the visuals right, because it really, really helps your page.
I suppose you're communicating your vision through your visuals as well. I mean, that rhymes almost. I think that's really interesting because, you know, you mentioned using free tools. There is so much online these days. Canva, you can go on and have a free account, and as you're planning your social media campaign to run alongside your crowdfund campaign, you can build your social media assets for whatever platform, and they're optimized per platform. Okay, so Sweater, hi, nice to have you on board. Sweater would like to know, how do you advise us to get good visuals on a low budget? We kind of just covered that, but I guess, have you got any more advice?
Yeah, so what I would suggest is get as many photographs, you know, decent quality. You can still use your phone, so build as many photographs. If you're thinking about your photos, happy smiling faces are always the best. If you can have a photo, try and get a happy smiling face in it with your product or service. And use you know, you've got the iMovie on the Mac, or if you're on Microsoft, use the Photos app. Has got a video editing function on it. It's free, it's quite good. And I would use Canva for social media, to do up your social media things, images.
That's great advice. And then we've got Hamanjini, sorry, I apologize if I've spelt that wrong, name, asking if there are any tips on how much social media presence is necessary during the length of a campaign. What would you suggest? Well,
we launched the page for that for Goody Foodie 4 weeks before we launched the crowdfunder, so that we could build up an audience for it. So we decided only to do a Facebook and an Insta page. It turned out Facebook was totally crucial to the crowdfunder. Yeah, really, that was you know, really hit your Facebook groups, really hit your WhatsApp groups. Those were the tools, that the communication platforms that got us through the best.
So it's a good idea to have the stuff ready for those platforms. It's interesting you say Facebook and WhatsApp, because to me they feel like the very more personal platforms where you have that immediate direct content. Perhaps a bit more Instagram, it's hard to share links and stuff, but
yeah,
I guess
that's the two platforms that really worked for us. And I think it is because they're such word of mouth and one-to-one, you know, really hitting your mum's groups and things like that, that people are really supportive and they're rooting for you. So it was a good tool for us, but we needed to have the platforms up and running a bit, the social media up and running a bit before we launched the crowdfunder.
Yeah, because that's how are they going to find out about it, right? You've got to get a crowd together and then show them what you've got on offer.
Yeah.
Jojo, hi Jojo. Jojo would like to know, how long did it take to hit your target of 10K? How long was your campaign?
6 weeks. Mm-hmm.
That's a long 6 weeks for you, right?
Yeah, and we needed it. We needed the 6 weeks. We wouldn't have done it in 4.
That's I think it just goes to show that, you know, lots of people think you can crowdfund in a month, or you can get the money you need quite quickly. But I think it's worth knowing that you can take a little bit more time over it and actually embrace that length of time and use it to be creative within it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, a lot of people, it's just a donation. It's just people donating in. So think about your rewards, because whatever you give away as a reward is a cost for your business. So we couldn't give away, you know, you're still, we gave away things like recipe booklets, outdoor thermometers, things, you know, packaged them into little deals, and those went well. We tried not to do too many bigger things because we would actually have to buy all the material, you know, there's the cost involved in that. So just think about what rewards you've got on there.
What was your very favourite part about the whole campaign? The thing that really sort of warmed your heart the most?
It's just the kindness of people. It's just so lovely, and it just gives you a real, you know, you feel like you can do this, and it's giving you that bit of money that you need to open the doors just to pay for the day-to-day operations. A lot of time when you go for funding, it's got to be on this, that, and they put so many conditions on it. But actually, I just need to pay for a lockup. I need to pay for a van. You know, it's the basics. And you can choose what you do with that money. You're not tied to any enterprise agency for eligibility or anything like that. It's your money. So it was such a good, to have that there is just amazing.
And what's your one piece of exciting advice for anyone listening right now who's going to hopefully go on and launch their business idea into the stratosphere? What would you say? The one thing?
Get good visuals and plan your contacts.
And go do it.
Yeah, go do it.
Go do it. Yeah. Oh, you've been brilliant, Laura. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll hear a lot more about you. I mean, I'm going to go and check it out because I just want to know. I've got my veg patch, but I just know so many people that this could help as well as anything else. So I really, really appreciate your time, as I'm sure everyone else does as well.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Thank you. And we will see you again. We'll see you on the airwaves, on socials.
Thank you.
And then I guess for everyone else who's still here, who's still here, none of you have gone. This is brilliant. I think a message from Crowdfunder really, but we really want to hear from all of you who've enjoyed this, who want to go on and launch a company. If there's ways we can help you, it doesn't have to be like immediately through crowdfunding. You can just come and get in touch with us. And I guess also, one thing that was funny, it came up earlier on, was that you never know, we could always be your first customer. So come and speak to us, and we're here to help. And then lastly, you should get a link to the Back Her Business Learn program. And yeah, we're here for you, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed having you and having this chat. So take care. Thank you very much, everybody.